This is TWiT.
You got the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. What's up with it? What's up with that?
It's a little harder to show off with my Moody lighting. So like I'm trying to catch like the reflection off. Mate 10 Pro. So I last year the Mate 9 was one of my surprise phones of the year. And the Mate 10 is proving to be just a little bit more controversial. The difference between the 16:9 screen regular Mate 10 and the 2:1 aspect ratio Mate 10 Pro. I still feel Huawei has a little bit of an uphill challenge in describing the differences between the two phones. What phone is going to what region? You know, we run into these issues when we're talking about, you know, shipping all over the world, and some places are going to be getting a Mate 10 Pro, some places are going to be getting the regular Mate 10. But focusing on this actual phone here in front of me, I think this, and I'm going to say in my personal opinion, but I'm totally right and objective in saying this. I think this might be the most attractive aesthetic design of the year. So many phones have gotten just one or two little elements off in a way that irks me. And I haven't found anything like that on this phone. The symmetrical look of the back with the sensor bridged by the flash, the dual camera lenses vertically lined up with the centered positioned fingerprint scanner, and then calling back to design elements that I've loved, this band running across the back of the phone, which recalls the Nexus 6P and the Huawei Nova and the last year's Mate 9. All of these things blend together really, really well. I think this phone is gorgeous. I think this is probably my favorite look for a glass back phone this year. Performance has been pretty good. I think this has actually been something of a lateral move for Huawei. The Kirin 970 doesn't seem to be that much more powerful than the 960 was last year, but the die shrink has made this a phenomenal battery life performer. Mega huge battery capacity is 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and then this uses power more efficiently because of the die shrink and a lot of their sort of on-device machine learning code, so that it's not having to hit, your data connection quite as often. A lot of these things work hand in hand. Better garbage protection, better garbage collection, cleaning up the phone. This has been a really nice all-around experience. And it's nice to see Huawei's take on the 2:1 display. This is the OLED screen version. I had to turn off the ultra saturation mode. I always like kind of tuning down colors on screens whenever I can, just something that's a little bit more accurate. And then that brings me to the cameras. Dual Leica designed cameras. So you've got excellent photo performance. I think this is probably one of those phones that's going to be polarizing. If you like the look of Leica's image processing, this is a phenomenal shooter with excellent manual controls. If you like the more awesome HDR plus look, you're going to definitely want to go for something like a Pixel instead.
Didn't this score better at DxO?
Well, I see. That's the thing about DxO. I'm not going to call them out and say that their reviews and scores are suspect, but I think they're internally consistent. You just have to read through the actual review to see what they're scoring where. So
almost like the end result, the end score doesn't mean nearly as much as the individual bits.
I have a hard time with the way that they're like, oh, this is the highest scoring phone ever. And then you'll go and you'll see like, oh, we saw massive lens defects. And you're like, well, that's kind of an important aspect of a camera, is how good the lens quality is. I would say once you start seeing any phone scoring in like the high 90s on DxO, it's good. It's going to be fine. And you really as a consumer. Yeah. Well, but you as a consumer, you're going to have to say, like, what do I care about more? Do I want a phone that I can pull out of my pocket and push a shutter button and not mess with anything else? I might not even tap the screen to focus. Go get a Pixel. I mean, seriously, that is the phone for you. If you're a shooter like me and you want to dig into some more of those granular controls, then you're looking at LG and Huawei. I think they're the top two players for that kind of photography and videography. But I will throw out
Sorry,
and
JC.
see, that's exactly the point. I'm glad you brought up night photography, because the dual sensor setup here works really well for that portrait mode effect.
Yeah.
So while the pixel image processing is amazing from a single sensor phone, this isn't doing any weird crop. It's the full field of view from the normal main camera sensor. And this is probably the best performer I found for that kind of artificial blur effect when we start getting into dimmer conditions and lower light.
Oh, wow.
So you can't really do that from an iPhone or a Samsung because they use that tiny little zoom sensor for the portrait mode. If you like that effect, I still think Huawei has the lead on the best representation of that kind of software. Okay.
Wow. And so this is around $920 when you convert to US dollars. However, it's not available in the US. This is UK only at this point, right?
At the moment, and we're still waiting to see what that release might look like. I would be very surprised if it were just the straight exchange rate, because that's not what happened with the Mate 9.
Right.
And so I would expect an early 2018 launch, just like we saw with the Mate 9. And there are rumors that this could be the phone that breaks through a carrier deal, that this phone might end up on AT&T.
Huawei's been wanting that. Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall. Very nice. And interesting. I hope that I can see one in person, maybe play around with one.
It's a pretty phone. And I know the headphone jack is definitely a bummer, but we'll talk more about that in just a bit. But if you want a big, powerful phone with a big battery that charges stupid fast, I would definitely put this one on the list.
Right on. The Huawei Mate 10 Pro. Awesome. Thank you.